Hello everyone. Welcome to today's story. A CEO searches day and night. Tuna vanished with her child. But why did she leave right before the wedding? What secret about Alex broke her trust? In the silence of regret, Alex wonders, was it his fault or something deeper? And when they meet again, the question burns brighter. Will Tuna return or stay away forever? Don't forget to subscribe and help us reach 1,000 followers, because sometimes the quietest choices decide the loudest fates. The evening sky sank into shades of indigo, and the village streets turned into winding shadows. Alex walked alongside Long, the weight of his silence pressing heavier than the dusk itself. They had knocked on countless doors, each answered the same. No one knew where Tuna and her child had gone. With every rejection, his hope thinned like smoke disappearing into the night air. He dialed Johnny, the crackle of the line only to hear the same emptiness. No sign, no trace. Ngia had found nothing either. The group gathered at the roadside, faces dim in the fading light. Someone suggested they pause until morning. The dark was swallowing the paths, and even their determination could not pierce it. Alex's jaw tightened, as if by sheer will he could conjure Tuna back from the shadows. But his heart knew she was slipping further, every second unaccounted for stretching like an eternity. The sound of insects rose with the night, and the headlights of their car cut through the mist as they prepared to leave. Yet inside Alex, a different kind of night grew, an ache of helplessness. He muttered that she couldn't have gone far, but his words trembled with doubt. As the car engine hummed, silence filled the spaces between them. It was not the silence of peace, but of absence, of someone irreplaceable missing in the dark. The search would resume with daylight, but Alex carried with him the haunting question: what if daylight itself was too late? The house was quiet, except for the faint ticking of a clock. Alex sank into the wooden chair, his face pale beneath the dim yellow glow. His sister placed a glass of water in front of him, her voice gentle, almost hesitant. "Did you find her?" she asked, though she already knew the answer. Alex shook his head, eyes clouded with fatigue. He confessed in fragments, about the day at the farm, about the sharp words he had thrown at Tuna when frustration overtook him. "If only I hadn't spoken like that," he murmured, staring into the glass as though it could swallow his regret. His sister leaned forward, reminding him it was not only his fault, that perhaps Tuna left because of something else, something heavier than just wounded pride. But the weight of guilt remained carved into Alex's expression. A half-empty can of beer glistened on the table. He reached for another, his hand trembling slightly. "This won't help you," his sister whispered, her tone caught between worry and reproach. He forced a weak smile, insisting he could handle it. Yet as the bitterness slid down his throat, his shoulders sank deeper, the air around him turning heavier. Silence stretched, interrupted only by the sigh of the night wind brushing past the windows. His sister's eyes lingered on him, this once unwavering brother, now hollowed by remorse. Upstairs, his footsteps later echoed faintly as he retreated to rest, leaving behind the dull emptiness of bottles and unfinished words. In the quiet, the ache of absence seemed louder than any storm. The morning light slipped through the curtains, painting the floor with pale gold. Alex stirred awake, his body heavy from restless sleep. A phone call snapped him back into the world he could not escape. The factory needed him, Hoang was absent, and problems awaited. Duty pressed in from every side. With a sigh, he called Long, asking him to send men to continue the search. "I'll join later," he promised, though his voice carried the weariness of one who knew promises weighed heavier than he could bear. Far away, another morning unfolded. Tuna stood in the small kitchen, packing her basket for the market. She leaned down, kissing her child's forehead as the baby slept soundly in the cradle. She spoke softly to the grandmother who had offered them shelter, her words tinged with gratitude and apology. "Please take care of the baby while I'm gone," she said, leaving bottles of milk in the fridge. The older woman smiled gently, reassuring her, while the child's tiny breaths filled the silence with fragile innocence. Two worlds moved in parallel. Alex buried in ledgers, contracts, and the scent of sawdust, his thoughts never straying far from the image of Tuna, and Tuna navigating crowded market streets, her hands busy, yet her heart haunted. The rhythm of life demanded their presence, but inside each carried a hollow absence. The sun climbed higher, and with it, the unspoken truth. Love and responsibility often weighed the same, yet pulled in opposite directions. And both Alex and Tuna were caught in that quiet tug-of-war. The night air was cool, heavy with the scent of damp earth. Tuna sat quietly beside the old woman, her gaze fixed on the shadows trembling across the wooden floor. At last, her voice broke the silence, fragile, like glass about to shatter. "I left the farm the night before the wedding." The old woman's eyes lifted gently, waiting. Tuna's lips trembled as she confessed that she had uncovered a secret Alex had tried to keep hidden. The discovery had felt like the ground slipping beneath her feet, every promise collapsing into dust. Her story unfolded in fragments, how she packed hurriedly, clutching her child close, her heart torn between love and fear. How the words of Huang An's family cut deep, accusing and cruel, driving her out into the cold. She remembered the slammed door, the echo of rejection, and her own steps stumbling into the darkness. For a moment she had wondered if she was nothing more than a mistake in the lives of others. The grandmother's hands, worn and steady, reached across to hold hers. "Some storms," she whispered, "don't arrive to destroy us, but to clear the path." Tuna's tears fell silently, her chest rising with the ache of a wound too fresh to name. In the quiet room, the baby's soft breaths steadied her. Yet beneath her grief flickered a question that would not leave her. Could she ever return, knowing the secret she had seen could never be unseen? The marketplace was alive with noise, vendors calling, the rustle of baskets, the hum of footsteps. Yet amid the chaos, two men froze as their eyes locked onto a figure. The young woman at the fruit stall looked strikingly familiar, her profile echoing the photograph Alex had pressed into their hands. One whispered, "Isn't that her?" The other nodded, but when they approached and spoke Alex's name, she shook her head quickly, denying it. Her voice was calm, yet her eyes betrayed a flicker of fear. They let her leave, but suspicion clung like shadow. From a distance they followed, weaving through alleys and narrow streets. The woman's steps grew hurried, as though she sensed unseen eyes trailing her. She slipped into a modest house at the edge of town, the door closing softly behind her. The men exchanged glances. "It has to be her," one said, breathless. Without hesitation, they turned back, their decision made. Long would need to know. Alex had to be told. This could be the first true thread after days of emptiness. Elsewhere, Tuna leaned against the closed door, her pulse still racing. Through the thin window she glimpsed the fading figures, their voices still echoing with Alex's name. Doubt swirled in her chest. Was he truly searching for her? Or was this another snare of the past she was running from? The city lights began to flicker as night approached. Somewhere beyond, Alex was waiting, unaware that destiny was slowly guiding him toward the threshold of this very house. The gate creaked under Alex's hand as he stepped into the yard, the weight of days without sleep etched into his face. The house stood modest, its silence pressing against him like an unspoken warning. And then, she appeared. Lytuna, carrying a small bundle of laundry, froze when her eyes met his. For a heartbeat, time refused to move. Lytuna, his voice broke, low and trembling. She blinked, her lips parting as though to speak, yet only silence answered. He took a step closer, and the ache he had carried spilled into words. I've searched everywhere. Do you know how worried I've been for you and the child? His eyes shimmered with exhaustion and longing. Tears welled in her own eyes as the memories of the farm rushed back, the warmth, the promises, and the secret that shattered them. She struggled to hold her ground, whispering, "Why now, Alex? Why after everything?" The old man, Mr. Tang, stepped out, nodding politely. Lytuna introduced him as the one who had given her shelter. Alex bowed his head in gratitude but quickly turned back to her. I don't ask for forgiveness tonight, he said, voice raw. Only a chance. Come back to the farm. For you, for the child, even my sister, even Johnny. They regret what was said. We all do. Tuna's hands tightened around the cloth in her grasp. Her gaze softened, yet hesitation lingered like a storm cloud. Give me time, she murmured, the words barely audible, and Alex, though torn, nodded, accepting that hope sometimes lives in silence. The road outside glowed faintly under the moonlight as Alex prepared to leave. He lingered at the threshold, his gaze locked with Tuna's. She stepped closer, her voice fragile yet steady. Promise me, she said. Don't disappear. Don't let me and the child drift again. The plea trembled between them like a thread of glass. Alex swallowed hard, nodding. I promise, he whispered, the words carrying both vow and desperation. For a moment, it seemed as if the world had narrowed to just the two of them. The man who could not stop searching, and the woman who could not stop doubting. He turned away reluctantly, leaving behind the weight of expectation. Inside, Lytuna stood still, watching his figure vanish into the night. The old grandmother approached gently, her voice filled with quiet wisdom. He seems like a good man. Why not return? Lytuna smiled faintly, eyes dim with memory. Because the past does not vanish so easily, some truths, her words trailed off. They demand time before they stop bleeding. She bent over her child, pressing a kiss against the small forehead. For now she chose the safety of the present, of simple days and honest survival. Tomorrow, or the day after, her answer would come. Whether it would lead her back to the farm, or deeper into the unknown, she did not yet know. The night closed in, not with finality, but with the murmur of choices still unwritten. And sometimes, the greatest storms are not those outside, but the ones we carry quietly within.
Alex, một CEO trẻ lao vào cuộc tìm kiếm Tử Na với một đứa nhỏ sau khi rời bỏ trang trại ngay trước ngày cưới Alex. Anh mang nặng ân hận và từng nặng lời về những nguyên nhân sâu xa lại là bí mật Tử Na phát hiện nơi Alex khiến cô đau đớn và rời đi. Trong khi Alex vừa gánh nặng trách nhiệm và công việc và dây dứt khôn nguôi, Tử Na tìm chỗ nương náu cùng đứa bé, sống giữa dàn xé trong quá khứ và hiện tại. Cuộc gặp gỡ bất ngờ đưa họ đối diện nhau. Alice thiết tha mong cô trở lại, hứa sẽ bù đắp. Còn Tử Na thì day dứt không thể buông bỏ nỗi sợ tổn thương. Câu chuyện khép lại bỡ ngỡ, liệu Tử Na có trở về trang trại về tình yêu và chọn tiếp tục với con đường riêng hay không?